Good morning, Guardians. Briar Rabbit here. Today is a good day to be a Destiny player. Over the last year or so, players have been a bit upset about matchmaking in Destiny. The skill-based aspect of the matchmaking system seemed to be too strong and was basically resulting in matches that were not of optimal quality as far as lag and connection go. Over the last month or so, the community has been very vocal about this, strongly recommending that Bungie change the algorithm that controls matchmaking in the Crucible to more favor connection. Well, yesterday, Cosmo was on the Bungie forums and he posted this. We've made a change to the matchmaking system in an effort to increase match quality. Our specific goal is to reduce the number of matches that begin before they fill up with players. To achieve this, we are expanding the available skill range for other players earlier and more aggressively. We will also be looking for lower latency matches for longer than before. Essentially, this puts a stronger bias on connection quality, with less emphasis on skill matchmaking. This may result in slightly longer matchmaking times in some cases. For some of you, this could mean that you will be matched with opponents well outside your skill range. We hope the trade-off is worth it to improve the Crucible ecosystem in general. So this was a big step, and something that I honestly was not expecting Bungie to do. Their response to the outcry for a return to connection-based matchmaking was essentially play private matches. That's what they're there for. And it was not received well by the community. The community was strong. They were unified. Most of them were unified, asking for connection-based matchmaking, or at least more connection-based matchmaking in the Crucible. The Crucible had gotten to the point where you often saw red bars, yellow bars, and it didn't feel playable. It didn't feel fun in any way. Well, I can tell you, they made the change yesterday, and I played about 4 hours of Iron Banner yesterday and about an hour or two of Rumble this morning. And honestly, I'm seeing a lot more green bars in every match. Yes, I am still seeing some yellow bars. Yes, I am still seeing some red bars. But for the most part, it has been straight green down the board. And it shows in the gameplay, or you can feel it in the gameplay. I'm not seeing people teleporting. I'm not feeling that I can't damage somebody based on their connection. I feel like I'm in a fair environment. However, I will say I'm definitely matching up against people outside of my skill level much more often. Sometimes I get stomped. Sometimes I do the stomping. But either way, it feels fair, and I like that. It feels much better than it did just 2 days ago. I'm really excited about this. Obviously, I have a very small sample size, very anecdotal information about this because it's going to take weeks, maybe months to really figure out how big a change this was. But just in the few hours of Crucible that I've played so far, it feels better. That feeling, it feels more responsive and less laggy. And that's huge. That's a big step. Now, a matchmaking adjustment wasn't the only piece of great news we got yesterday. We also found out that Vicarious Visions will be joining Bungie on working on Destiny. Bungie tweeted out this little quote. Vicarious Visions is excited to announce that we are partnering with Bungie to further expand the award-winning Destiny universe. So this is exciting because more people working on Destiny hopefully means more content for Destiny. One of the biggest problems we have as Destiny players is that we constantly feel like we're content starved. However, there were a bunch of views on this piece of information that I found really interesting. One of them was, these guys used to work on PC games like Jedi Knight and Jedi Academy and may be working on the PC port of Destiny 2, which would be very exciting to me because I desperately hope for a PC version of Destiny 2 come September. Another great one is that these guys also used to work on Nintendo products, Nintendo third-party products. So they may be working on a version of Destiny 2 for the Nintendo Switch, which will be released in 2017. That would be great because that adds Nintendo players to the Destiny fold, and I would love to be able to play Destiny 2 on a portable system. That would be phenomenal. Now, I also heard something from Pope Bear on the podcast last night that stuck in my mind and I thought was pretty cogent. Pope was a little bit concerned because he kind of compared this idea of bringing in new developers to an Activision property like what happened to Call of Duty. If you remember back in the old Call of Duty days, all the games were developed by Infinity Ward, and they did a great job of making those games. They prioritized smooth gameplay, great connections, low latency, fast action. And they made some really great games. Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2. These were fantastic games, and they were all developed by Infinity Ward. Activision at some point said, we want a Call of Duty game every year, so they brought in Treyarch. And Treyarch started developing World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and so on. And regardless of how you feel about the Treyarch games versus the Infinity Ward games, there's definitely designed differently, and the same priorities are not necessarily taken in both of those games. Now, eventually Infinity Ward, or the founders of Infinity Ward, were kicked out, and they went on to make Titanfall and Titanfall 2 with Respawn Entertainment, and Activision actually brought in Sledgehammer, and they started making Call of Duty games as well. And as a result, I believe, and I think Pope does too, that the quality of Call of Duty games, at least the core fundamentals of why we fell in love with Call of Duty in the first place, kind of fell off. Those same minds that originally developed Call of Duty were gone, and now new people came in, and their ideas and their constructs for what the game should be were different than what the fans originally fell in love with. Now, Call of Duty is still a very popular franchise, but a lot of people who used to play Call of Duty don't anymore because the game is just not what it used to be. It's not the game that I fell in love with personally. And that was Pope's concern, is bringing in multiple new developers. Is that going to dilute what Destiny is, the original idea for Destiny? Is it going to change from what we fell in love with in Destiny 1? So it's something to look out for. I hope Pope is wrong here. I like where he's going with this. Like, I respect his opinion on this, and I hope he's wrong. I think he hopes he's wrong too. It's just a warning sign. It's something to look out for. But hopefully, Vicarious Visions is going to come in, help with asset creation, help with level creation. Maybe they're going to do a PC port. Maybe they're going to do a Nintendo port. Who knows, really? That information's not available publicly. But what I'm hoping for, and I think what Pope is hoping for too, is that the original ideals, the original creators of Destiny are allowed to continue growing, and that new developers aren't expected to take Destiny off in other directions. All right, so I told you it was going to be a good day, and I'm not done yet. This day gets better. Yesterday, Bungie announced some new fixes that are coming with Update 2.5.0, and they're sure to make a lot of players very happy. First of all, skeleton keys are being adjusted. Skeleton key drop rates have been slightly increased in the Siva Crisis playlist, the Siva Crisis Heroic playlist, and the weekly Nightfall. Players will now receive a skeleton key for their first account Nightfall clear per week. So if you do the Nightfall, you're guaranteed at least one skeleton key per week, which is pretty great. That is a very nice change and gives me a reason to do the Nightfall, which frankly I haven't had in a long time. Characters who are level 40 will now automatically convert uncommon engrams, green engrams, to weapon and armor materials on pickup. So no longer will green engrams take up slots in your inventory. They will just automatically decrypt into weapon and armor parts, which is fantastic. Less inventory management, more weapon and armor parts. This is a great change. I love this. Also, Brother Vance now offers materials exchange for passage coins and motes of light. A lot of Guardians have found themselves short on passage coins when Trials of Osiris goes live. Brother Vance will now offer them in exchange for motes of light. So this has been plaguing me for at least a year. I regrettably deleted like 200 passage coins at one point because they used to just drop from every Crucible activity, and then they stopped dropping from every Crucible activity. The only way to get them was through bounties with Brother Vance or through losing in the Trials of Osiris. So now I can just buy some with some motes of light, That takes a lot of the stress off. I'm really glad to see this change. And frankly, it's just one more example of Destiny's getting better and better. I love the fact that it seems to me like Bungie hears our complaints. They might not respond to them immediately. It may take them a very long time to be able to make the changes we're requesting. But with matchmaking, with the changes to the keys, with the changes to the passage coins, these are just all examples of Bungie hearing what we're saying, hearing the complaints and criticisms and suggestions that we have about Destiny and responding to them to try and make us happy. So there's a lot of hate out there sometimes for Bungie, but man, yesterday they fucking nailed it. They just absolutely nailed it. So thank you to the team, the developers at Bungie. Thank you to the community managers, Cosmo and Deej. You guys are doing a hell of a job. I really do appreciate it. And I know the rest of the community does too. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button if you liked the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.